Hi everyone, welcome back to Barbie Dolls of the Week. So this week's going to be a little different. I've got a bit of a rant to do about an eBay issue that happened this past week. As some of you, I'm sure, remember, I was selling the Alphaba doll that I have had for some few years, 3, 4 years, I would say. And so, surprisingly, it didn't get as much traction as I thought it would, or as many bids. There was one lady who contacted me ahead of time before she bid and asked if the box was in, mint condition, I think is the word she used. To me, the box was in mint condition, but I wouldn't use that word. So I told her it was in very good condition, and I sent her some additional pictures, and there were about 10 or so on the auction itself already. So there were no issues with the box that I can see or notice. So anyway, she bid on it. She was the only one, so she won. Um, Obviously, it was the starting bid, which was okay. I mean, I don't put a starting bid for something I don't want to sell it for. So I went ahead and got it ready to ship once it was done. Sent it out earlier this week, and she got it middle of the week. I think it was, yeah, she got it Wednesday. I sent it Monday, so it went down to Florida, by the way. So Alphaba went for a trip to Florida, as it turns out. I got a message that day and a return request from eBay for the box being damaged. And she started the message in eBay by saying, "This is why I don't use USPS or United States Post Office, because of the way I guess she's saying they handle boxes." I have to say, I don't usually have an issue. I mean, once in a blue moon, maybe, but it's not usual. And I'm talking about when I buy and sell, which of course I do both. And so she messaged me. She had the request in, and I'm immediately thinking, now, wait a minute, this is priority mail. There's automatic insurance included. And so, wouldn't you be filing a claim instead of trying to get a return with, claim with the post office? Well, she didn't want to do that because, she did say, and I think this is fair, that she wanted a doll in a box that was in quote unquote mint condition or good, very good condition, which it was. And unfortunately, the post office did damage it. The box that I sent it in, and I double bubble wrapped it and had some other paper at the bottom, and it was a pretty close fit, by the way, to the box. I left maybe about that much room at the top because personally, I don't think you should put something right up to the top of the box, the inside thing, though. And a lot of times I'll put like newspaper there or something. This was just bubble wrap and some other paper, like kind of like tissue paper. So anyway, it should have been fine, honestly, but they managed to probably throw another box on top of it or do something that one part of the packing box that I sent it in got kind of crushed down a little bit or somewhat, and that did damage the box that the doll's package was, that she's in. So I was confused and looking it up and actually posted on eBay Facebook a couple sites, asking what typically happens in that situation because it's so barely ever happened to me. Maybe it hasn't. I can't think of a case where somebody's trying to return something because I have a no return policy on eBay. And eBay was saying in the message to me that regardless of having a no return policy, they have for the buyer a guaranteed satisfaction or a satisfaction guaranteed warranty, I guess you would consider. So, she has the right to send it back. So it's like to me those things don't match up. I mean, if somebody says they don't have a return policy, why would you expect a return? To me, that's why there's insurance. So you use the insurance, it's damaged, and it's unfortunate, but that does happen. But that's why there's insurance. But anyway, she wasn't going to do that. And basically, what I found out through all this is eBay backs her up in this because it says, oh, well, you have other options. When I looked at the other options, they all involved her getting a return or a refund, I mean, and me getting the returned item. So one of them was like, oh, well, you can try to give her a partial refund and let her keep the item. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. And she sent me a couple pictures after I asked for them of the doll in the box or the package to show the damage. It's not that I didn't believe her, but I'm like, well, what kind of damage? Is it major damage? Is it minor damage? And she was like, oh, the doll's damaged, the box is damaged that it came in. I mean, the package. So her, it was major damage. But when I saw the pictures, I was like, oh, well, that's not, it doesn't seem that bad. It's just one side, and it's kind of, crushed. The plastic is crushed a little bit. But I didn't see any damage. It's the side where her broom is, and I didn't see any damage to the broom or the doll from what I could tell. And so, basically, I had no choice. I had to accept the refund, or sorry, the return, and give her a refund. So I want to show you the doll. It actually, that was Thursday morning that I accepted the return. I didn't have a choice. Gave her, well, we'll give her a refund when I get the doll, is the way it works. But I did get the doll. I got the doll, gosh, what's today now? Sunday. So I got it late Friday, I think it was. Or no, Saturday. Or I think it was Saturday, actually. So from Thursday, she must have gone to the post office Thursday or maybe Friday morning, but it got here from Florida to Indiana sometime between Thursday and Saturday. That's just really fast. So here's the box. Here's the doll. There's nothing wrong with the doll. It's not damaged at all. The box does have damage. Now, when I got it, it was pressed down here, the plastic. If you can see, right here is where the slight damage is. You see that right there. So it got crushed here, but I asked her, could it be popped back out, and she said no. I popped it back out in 2 seconds when I got it. But yes, it's now damaged a little bit like that, but it's not really that noticeable. So I'm probably going to try to resell it and state that there is some damage, and I'll take pictures of this. Um, I'll try once more, and I don't know. I can put on there "Do not crush," but that doesn't mean they're not going to crush it. People don't usually read it anyway, but I just thought the way she handled it was really poor as far as me, because she messaged me that evening after I got off work Wednesday probably 15 times in about 2 hours or less. Maybe it was more than 15, I'd have to count. And each one was getting more kind of frantic, and I'm asking questions, try to find out what happened and what we can do and what agreement we can come to before I knew there really wasn't much I could do as a seller. Um, so, it's weird that she started out with, this is why I don't use the USPS. And by the time the last message I saw from her, she said, well, you should have packed it better, and you should have, not left the space in between the top of the box and the item. Should have put more in there, I guess, besides the double bubble wrap and the other paper that I put in there. And that the box should have been exact, that same size and not had that gap. And I told her, I said, well, first of all, it's really hard to find a box that's the exact size unless you happen to have a shipper box for this doll that it came with. And second, to me, when you leave a little bit of a gap, that's actually better, and you have some paper and bubble wrap in there, because if it does get crushed, it's not going to get crushed as badly as if it was right up against it. I mean, that's just logical. And then she was arguing about the insurance, that no, the insurance is for the seller, not the buyer. Well, then why is it that I see people offer, do you want extra insurance or do you want more insurance to their buyers? It's for the buyer, that insurance. Am I wrong about that? And if I am, okay, I'll learn something new. But people on Facebook seem to agree. I think everyone said that answered the question. I put it in 2 groups. Like, is eBay insurance for the buyer or the seller? Because I've always thought it was for the buyer. That's who's buying the product. So if I go buy something at a store and it's in a box and I get it home and it's damaged, well, I can usually, take it for a refund. But if I get it, let's say it's mail order, and I get insurance with it, well, that's so that I can do a claim, not the seller. So I just totally disagree with her on that. But she wasn't going to budge on any of this, and she didn't care, because all she wanted was her money back, and she was getting, increasingly agitated, it seemed to me. And I was just like, okay, I'm not going to deal with this all night. And I finally told her, would you stop, you know, messaging me? I haven't even said I wouldn't take the doll back, which is what she was acting like. And of course, I didn't even know there was an option at that point to not to take it because there wasn't. But yeah, it just got out of control on her end. I mean, I didn't want to sit there after work and be responding to all these different messages. So finally, I told her, I said, because she had said, "Well, that's okay. I'll deal with eBay and don't worry about it. I won't have to bug you anymore." But then she kept messaging me. So finally, I told her, I said, "I'm not going to keep responding to these. I will look at the different options and see what I can do, including with the insurance thing." So now I got the doll back. It's damaged, and by the way, as a seller, I had to pay for the shipping to come for the doll to come back, and I think that's like a slap in the face. So I'm not too happy with eBay right now. I just think the way they treat sellers is not very good. You know, it's like everything is about the buyer, and of course I put her on the block list for me. You know, she probably wouldn't want to buy from me at this point anyway, but I put her on my blocked buyer list because, I mean, you don't have to get so sort of aggressive about a doll. And as much as I like dolls, as you can tell, um, I don't feel like I need to bother someone and bug them all evening with these little teeny messages that keep getting worse. First of all, save your thoughts up and send them in a chunk, and then maybe the 15 or more emails could have been five or less. Or, these messages got out of control, and it was just really aggravating me, and I didn't need that. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. I lost the sale of the doll. I did get the doll back. She's slightly damaged, but I'm glad to have her back. I do want to try to resell her. If not, I'm just going to keep her because I do like the doll. I just, I'm not extremely attached to it. I've got so much Wizard of Oz stuff, so I don't really need it. And I'm trying to thin out the herd, as you know. But yeah, I don't see why everything should go in the buyer's positive column, so to speak. You know, I go back to that insurance thing, and eBay not giving, even if you're saying no return, somebody can return something. So what's the point of having a no return policy? Because it's like if they what I was took from the message also is if they change their mind, say, oh, I don't want it now, you can't return it for that. But there has to be some reason, like, oh, it's not as described. In this case, it was damaged, so yeah, that's different than the pictures I sent her, that kind of thing. So you can return it, and I'm not entirely against that, but I just think it's really not fair that you have to then pay for that because of the post office's problem. So yeah, I guess I'm going to be filing a complaint, or sorry, a claim and a complaint with the post office. Not that they care about complaints, but just to try to get some of the money back that the loss I've now incurred on that. Um, because it's $10 for the shipping thereabout, and then the loss of what I can now sell this doll for. So if I do resell it, I'm sure it'll be less than what it went for before. But such is life. And honestly, this hasn't been a great week starting with that. But also now our furnace is out here at the house. So thank goodness we're having very nice warm days for late October. So I'm very appreciative because we have no heat right now. And it may come down to getting a whole new furnace because the part that's bad in it is so expensive and so much work to replace that it's just mostly worth it to get a new furnace. And what really irks me about that, I just have to tell you guys while I'm ranting here, is that thing's only 11 years old. I mean, I paid for that to get put in 11 years ago, and so to me, a furnace should last more than 11 years. You spend around 4,000 on it. I mean, yeah, the first time I put it in, or not me personally, but the company put it in, was just a little bit over 4,000. Now it might be a little bit more than that. I don't know yet. We're waiting on. We got one estimate. We're waiting on one other estimate. A company that was out yesterday, but I hope next week's better, and I hope it's better for you all too, because. And maybe you had a great week this week. I don't know. Mine wasn't so great, but it wasn't awful either. But that whole furnace thing on top of this was Wednesday. The furnace went out. I think it was Friday morning. Well, Thursday night, really, but we didn't realize it till Friday morning. So, I hope I have better news for you next time and more dolls for sure. So take care. Bye bye.